Hi everyone, this is Aman. We have Sanya with us. Hi Sanya.
Hello, Aman.
Yeah, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sanya, and currently I am final year student. Like I'm in 8th semester, and I'm pursuing my BTech degree from Gyan Ganga, Jabalpur, and my stream is computer science. And I got selected in two different companies, and today I am here to share my experience regarding persistent systems.
Yeah, congratulations for being placed.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what is the pattern of this persistent system examination?
Look, actually, it was my off-campus placement, and
Okay,
it was a long journey. Actually, it started from April, and it
okay,
almost ended in September. So it started with the very first introductory test, where we have
okay,
to face the questions related to aptitude, English, and of course, coding was there. Then we have gone through a
okay,
5-week training, and we have been given to the access to an LMS like learning platform, and we were asked to
okay,
complete certain courses. And again in the month of June, we have to go for two different technical tests. One was
okay.
related to our syllabus, like what we have learned in that training program, and second was complete coding question. Then we have three interviews, and one was last one was HR, and that being the final result was final select.
Okay, so you have said that you have gone through some examination, written examination, right? So what is the
Yeah.
pattern? Yeah, what is the pattern?
Look, the very first exam that I have given was in consisting of aptitude, like aptitude general questions. You can visit like indiabix.com or Exam Veda. From there, we have practiced the question. So aptitude questions were there. In that, logical reasoning questions were also there. And secondly, we have English questions also. And next, we have MCQ section that was completely related to the technical subjects like operating
Okay,
system, computer networks, all these. And then the fourth section was like our coding section. We have two different questions, and one was medium and the second was higher medium. I can't say
okay.
it was hard, but it was a higher medium level question. So this was the very first test pattern.
So the entire test happened on the same exam, or they have conducted different exam for one for aptitude, one for
No,
communication?
it was all in one exam, and it I think it was for 3 hours,
Okay.
3 hours exam, and we have to complete in one sitting.
So in coding, what they are concentrating on, or they are concentrating on data structures or strings or any other particular
Yeah,
things?
actually, there were different sets, so I have collected all the questions. In my
Okay,
set, I have been asked two questions. One was of array, and second
okay,
one was of string. And
okay,
one of my friend who got a question from DP also, like dynamic programming, they got a question. And one
okay,
was in that case, if they are giving DP question, then the first question of them were very easy. They have been asked like
okay,
bubble sort to write the bubble sort code,
okay,
and second was DP question. So they have mixed it like that.
okay. So could you rate it out of five, the entire examination in the difficulty level out of five? How difficult it is?
Look, if you are prepared, you'll find it, I think, easy to medium, because the aptitude questions were not way too tough. But if you are not prepared well, then you can find it tough. So I can rate it 4.7 out of 5.
Okay. So how much time it took to give the training? You said that after this test you have training, right? So how much time they took to give the result of this examination?
Uh, it was actually a 5-week training program, and in that
Okay,
training, we have been given access to a platform. They have created a LMS, and in that different links were there, different article links were there, different videos were there, and we
okay,
have been assigned per subject per week. Like where the very first week was of a language. Like they have given
okay.
option कि आप C++ करो, Java पढ़ो, आपको जो मैंने मतलब आपको एक को ही complete करना था वहाँ पे. So
Yeah.
this was the criteria for that, and the that week you have completed. Then at the end of the week, they have created a quiz also there, and
Okay.
that quiz was not very way too tough. What you have learned, you have to complete that quiz, and then only you can move to next week. And again, that like next week it was data structures. So in this
Okay.
way it went, and it was a
Okay.
5-week training. We have covered data
So
structures,
yeah,
we have covered computer networks, operating, all those that CS fundamentals.
yeah, okay. So you have to clear every week test. At the end of the week, you have to
Yeah,
clear every week test.
yeah, you have to clear. Otherwise, you will not get assigned to the next course.
Okay. So, going back, do you have, do you have any minimum criteria for the examination? You have completed that coding aptitude exam, right? So, is there any minimum criteria, like how much percent questions you have to solve? Do you know any about the number? How much do you have to solve?
No, I don't know about the cutoff. What was their cutoff? Because
Okay.
no certain criteria was given, but only thing was like the basic criteria, 60% you have to score in your 10th or 12th.
For coding, how many test cases? Like how many both have you solved both questions, or do you solve?
Yeah, I have solved both question, and I don't know the number of test cases because only two was visible over there. And like
Okay.
once we click the submit, we just move to next question. So
Okay.
there no numbers were shown.
So after the 5 week, training process and the corresponding test every week, then you will be given what is the next round?
Like after the training program, we have been
Okay.
given 3 dates. Like
Okay.
on any of the date, you can choose and you can give the final test. One more coding
Okay.
test was there, and in that test, we were given 41 MCQ questions, all
Okay.
the training related thing or CS fundamental simple we can say, and
Okay.
then next there were two coding questions we have to complete.
Okay.
After passing the test only you will be eligible for interview, and that was completely dependent on them whom they select or whom they, but in that test coding was compulsory. You have to solve two of the questions,
Okay.
otherwise I think they were not considering more of MCQs, but yeah, coding was mandatory in that case.
Yeah. So how is the test? Like, it difficult or it is like medium?
It was difficult because I actually found it the MCQs were a bit difficult because what I think is it's my personal opinion, like coding कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, आप सॉल्व कर लेते हो, मतलब आपको आइडिया आ जाता है कि हाँ यहाँ पे मैं कर सकती हूँ, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू MCQ you have to give the exact answer कि
Yeah.
ये क्या है आप बताओ. So that I find it because data structures MCQs were there, and we have been, and there was time also with each
Yeah.
question. We were given time, and that I found it difficult because you have to solve. Pseudo codes were also there, and you have to
Okay.
just see and solve within a minute or 1.5 minutes. So I found
So
it
what is the
considerable.
entire duration of this test? Like the
In 90 minutes, it was of 90 minutes.
okay. So what is the duration of allocated for the bits and the coding?
It was 45 minutes for coding and 45 minutes for MCQ.
Yeah. So how many coding questions were there in the coding round?
Two coding questions were
Okay.
there.
So how is the difficulty level of this test? Like as you said, it is difficult. How is the coding part in it? Like how is the coding part?
Look, coding part was again, it was medium. Both the questions were of medium level. And in my test, I got one question of array again, and second was of my
Okay.
matrix question.
So how much time it took to get the interview after this examination?
It took around 10 days. After 10 days, I got my result. I have to
Okay.
appear for the interview.
So how is the technical interview went? Like what are the questions asked and what is the pattern of it?
Look, my first interview was, I think it started with introduction. Obviously, they asked me for my
Yeah.
introduction, and only one member was there in the interview,
Okay.
and she asked me introduction, and she just shared her screen, and she again gave me a coding question. It was a pattern based question, like we have to print
Okay.
a pattern, like one, then one, two, insert. It was an easy question, and we
Yeah.
have to. She simply shared her screen and asked me to solve the question, and she
Okay.
asked me about the language preference, which language. I told C++, and I have to solve the question. I solved. Then the entire interview went on that question,
Okay.
like how you approached, what was the time complexity, why you use that, all the things. And it was a short interview, like it
Okay.
only went for 25 minutes, that
Okay.
question. And certain oops question were asked. Oops questions were like what is destructor, why we create destructor, and what is the role of constructor, what is abstraction, difference between abstraction and encapsulation. Only these
Okay.
questions were there.
So basic OOPS questions and a program was asked in
Yeah,
the technical round.
first it first technical round, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is the interviewer friendly with you or she's more rigid?
She was good. She
Yeah,
was
okay.
not very friendly, not very rigid. She was okay, fine.
Yeah, then what is the next round in the interview?
Okay, after this, again, I have to wait for 10 days, and then I got my call for the second round. It was
Okay.
L2 or level 2 interview, and in that,
Okay.
there were two members. So
Okay.
one was there. So the sir asked me only about my introduction and again certain oops question. Then
Okay.
he asked me about what is the syntax of a class, what is the friend function. The two questions were there, and one was related to Linux. Like if we have
Okay.
to display all the files name, what will be the command you'll be writing. So these were the
Okay.
question. And next again, one sir was there. He asked me a coding question.
Okay.
Again, a code was asked, and it was the code for like you have to count the number of brackets in a string,
Okay.
a stack based question it was. So
Okay.
first he
Yes.
asked me to explain the approach, how you will solve. Then he asked me to write the code, and then he discussed with me like if not stack, what else you will use, all these things. Then
Okay.
after this, he asked me about the projects, my projects, like what final year project you have made, by this project. And then I
Yeah.
have written Django in my resume. So he asked Django questions also, like Django architecture and why
Okay.
you have started learning Django. And after that, I have used API in my project. So the around 10 minutes discussion went on the API thing, like what is
Okay.
API. So it was all around 45 minutes, and all these were there. In API, he also covered certain computer network question like routing and all these things.
Yeah. Okay. So he went
Yeah,
somewhat
these
deep
were,
into the API part.
yeah, and coding was also there.
Yeah. So is the coding question is difficult in this round or it's quite normal?
It was medium, basic medium, we can say.
Okay. So
Yeah,
how do you rate this second interview in the terms of difficulty, like easy, medium, or hard?
it was medium level, like higher medium, we can say, because all the things were covered. We have to
Yeah.
solve coding also, give question answers to questions. So yeah, it was.
And then what is the next round?
After this, I have to wait a way too long, like 20 days I have waited, and then I have
Okay.
got called for HR interview.
Okay. So what are the
Yeah.
questions asked this in HR interview? Is it still
Look,
technical?
no, she didn't went in that, and she was very friendly actually. The
Okay.
interview started with her introduction only. Like
Okay.
she gave her introduction, and she asked me too many typical questions. And actually, I really find HR interviews tough. They asked anything like whatever they want, and we have to just create the answer in our mind at that point.
Yeah.
So of course it started with the introduction part. Then she asked me why you want to why you want to join Persistent. Then she asked me in which other companies you are placed. Then she asked me about my interest and who is my admirer, and
Okay.
some imaginary question like if you meet someone, and if he's the one or she's the one you admire, and what questions you will ask him. So
Okay.
all these things were. And last question she asked me about my location preference and
Okay.
why you want to choose that location.
So basically that she's trying to test your communication and your
Yeah,
makeup skills.
yeah, all these
Yeah.
things were covered.
Okay. So that is the final round, right? Or are there any other further rounds?
Yeah, no, that was the final round.
Okay. Then how much time it took to tell that you are selected for the company?
It was 17 days,
Okay.
long wait.
Okay. So how do you rate this entire process out of 5 for a normal engineering graduate? It would be easy or medium or hard to crack this interview?
It would be higher medium level, I guess, because the coding questions were way too tough if you haven't practiced data structures. Because all the questions were, I'll not say they have asked directly from the code chef or code forces like platform, but it
Yeah.
was tough and it was deep inside the data structures and algorithms part.
Yeah.
In fact, the MCQs also, they were way too tough to solve if you don't have any idea.
Yeah.
So it was higher medium level questions, and
Yeah.
you have to practice. It was difficult for me, I'll say.
Yeah, because in every interview you are asked a code, you have to solve it again.
Yeah.
So
And the entire discussion went on that only. एक
yeah,
आपको छोड़ ही नहीं रहे, वो उसी को बताओ पूरा, मतलब क्यों किया ये
yeah,
ऐसे. So it was difficult.
yeah, they went too deep to understand your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now can you share any tips, for someone who wanna get placed in the company or any other higher level companies? Can you share your tips and tricks how you prepared to how you crack this?
Look, what I'll say to the freshers, or I'm the one fresher only. So
Yeah,
I'll say first clear your basic thing, because students यही गलती करते हैं, मतलब उनको ऐसा लगता है कि सब छोड़ो हटाओ, मैं चली सीधे मतलब कोड फोर्सेस पे मैं सॉल्व करूंगी, कोड शेफ पे, और मेरा निकल जाएगा. बट इट इज नॉट दैट, बिकॉज जब क्वेश्चंस व्हेन वी फेस इन दैट
yeah,
एमसीक्यू पार्ट एक्चुअली, सो अगर बेसिक स्किल क्लियर नहीं है, आपको नहीं पता कि एरे को सॉर्ट करने के बाद क्या होगा, तो आप नहीं कर
yeah,
सकते उसको सॉल्व. सो क्लियर योर बेसिक्स फर्स्ट, and then practice in a level. Don't jump too high at a time, or don't go like wherever. Follow a direction, and there are
yeah.
so many
Study
things
progress.
available.
You have to progress steadily.
Progress.
Yeah,
So that is what I want to clear your basic skills first, and then go
yeah.
step by step. Study is important.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Okay, okay. Thank you. It was great talking to you also.
Yeah, it's great you are sharing your experience with so many people. They can get help from this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.